Welcome back, Sakura crew. We are back for another video today, just here to have a chat about the upcoming meta we're going to see when op11 drops. Now, our meta, I feel it's really an exciting time because it's going to be a different meta to what we saw in the East. What we have seen in the East, though, is they had a strong presence of this Grape Luffy in EBO2, and they've transitioned over into a strong presence of this blue purple Luffy into into OP11, and we're likely to see a very different meta to what they have had. Now, I just want to say I have been trying Ace in OP11, trying many different configurations, and I am struggling to find something that's going to work against these purple Luffys, already against just the Japanese meta. And I feel like these purple Luffys are going to get even stronger. So let's have a little look at them now. So first off, I want to talk about this Grape Luffy. This Grape Luffy in EBO2, it's incredibly dominant. Now, in the East, it had a very strong presence towards the end of their meta, and they had a short meta like ours as well, and our meta has just picked up from where they were, and this one is proving even stronger, a much greater presence than it had over in the East. Now, the thing that makes this one incredibly strong is how it is able to manipulate Don so well. You can effectively use more than 10 Don in each turn. But the other really strong point that I want to make about this one is it becomes a 6k leader consistently on your turn and your opponent's turn. Now, we know back from the Red Purple Luffy days and the Whitebeard days that a 6k leader is very strong, and it needs to have a very big deficit tied into it in order to compensate for this. And Whitebeard, we saw it lose its life each turn to make it fair, and even that wasn't fair enough because it was still able to dominate the meta back in EBO2, EBO3, sorry, OPO2, OPO3, and the Red Purple Luffy, they adjusted to this and they put into the Red Purple Luffy just 3 life, trying to make it more balanced, and I feel like that was a good balance for that card. Now, this one is a 4 life leader, which is effectively a 6k. As long as you've only got Straw Hats in your deck, it's going to be a 6k leader. And it is dominating because of this. Now, the only thing that's going to really overtake this is what we saw in Japan, the next one, which is the Blue Purple Luffy, which is also a 6,000 power leader. And this one is also, they've gone, well, let's drop it back down to 3 life because we don't want it to be overpowered. But what we're going to do is we're going to allow it to draw 2 cards every turn, because that can't be busted. And we can, readjust the top of your deck while we're doing that. So this one is going to be a force to be reckoned with as soon as OP11 drops. It is the one that bumps off Grape Luffy from his throne. And yeah, incredibly strong once again, being of that purple Luffy nature. Now, I want to talk about why we're going to experience a different meta and why I think the purple Luffys are going to get even stronger. And that is because of a starter deck that's coming out very soon. Now, the starter deck features the black purple Luffy, and hot take, I feel like this Luffy is going to be the king for the Western OP11 meta. And I'm going to talk about why very, very shortly. But it's mostly centered around this new starter deck that's coming out. Now, the key SRs that we're getting from this starter deck, they are strong. Particularly the Luffy. That's why it's a little bit bigger on the screen here. The Luffy, I'm going to read it out for you if you haven't seen it yet. It's a 6 cost, 7,000 power, on play and when attacking, Don -2. Don -2 is fine if you're using this leader because it wants to minus 2 Don on your turn, because when it does, you ramp 1 rested and ramp 1 active. Okay, so we play this out. We lose a Don or lose 2 Dons, we get 1 back active, which you can then put on your leader to give all of your characters +1 cost, making it a 7 cost on your opponent's turn, harder to KO. Cool, so this Luffy, on play when attacking, Don -2. If your leader is multicolored and your opponent's has 5 or more Don cards on their field, your Straw Hat crew type leader's base power becomes 7,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. 7,000 power, not 6, 7,000 power. This is pretty strong. Now, we have seen such effects from Newgate, bumping up 2,000 power, and actually the starter deck for Shanks also allows the Shanks to do a very similar thing. Leader lock to that Shanks, and I don't think it's quite as good as this card here because it's only on play for that Shanks, not when attacking. When attacking is key, and I have played a lot of Red Purple Luffy, and I was using the Captain Kid, the 7 cost, which when attacking and on play bumps the leader up 1,000 power, and that alone was bumping it to a 7,000 was incredibly strong of a play. It was something that you could build your deck around. Now, this Luffy is really great. It's not going to be great for the already 6,000 power Luffy. So that takes out the Red Purple Luffy because it's base power, remember. So it's bumping the base power from a 6,000 to a 7. And that's not as effective as, having a Kid, for instance. Unless you're able to get the effect from the -2 Don, you're better off running the Kid in the 6,000 power leaders, the Red Purple Luffy and the Blue Purple Luffy. The Green Purple Luffy is base power 5,000, so this could be interesting in that deck. It is Don -2 here, and your leader effect to get an extra the extra 1,000 is Don -2. So I don't know, you're gonna have to have a lot of Sanji puddings on board for that to work, but it could be possible. It could be possible, and if it's possible, that leader would be nuts, absolutely nuts. But the one that's gonna benefit most from this is the Black Purple Luffy. And I guess that's why it's in a starter deck for Black Purple Luffy. The other card that's really cool here is the Robin. Now, we do have some ramp like this one already. This Robin, it has on play Don -2. So when you -2 Don with your Black Purple Luffy, you'll get 1 back rested, 1 back active. And the effect of this one is that you get an active Don. Pretty cool. So we go first on our turn 2. We use our 3 Don to ramp 1 and get 1 active from our leader effect. So we're now on 4 Don and 2 are active, which we can put onto our leader and swing for 7. Pretty cool, easy ramp. We have something already similar with a Zoro, a purple Zoro, 3 cost, which does pretty much the same thing. However, that purple Zoro has no counter on it. So this one being a 2k counter is a little bit better for your deck. The Zoro is a 5,000 power, so worth considering. Maybe you run one of each and guarantee that early ramp, which is going to be better than the other options like the Zoro Juro, or, are we able to get away without using Bond Clays and make the deck a little bit cheaper? There is another card which I didn't put on here, but I think we can have a look. If we jump on here, this is all of the cards revealed so far. So this is what we're going to see in the starter deck. We have here the already talked about Luffy and Robin. Another really cool card, and sorry, this is the Zoro that we were just talking about as well. So on play, you may return one or more Don cards from your field to your Don deck. Add one Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. Cool, but we don't have any counter, so a little bit harder to use. Now, this card here, this Chopper, I think is also a really amazing card that we have access to. It is a blocker, very good. 3-cost blocker. I feel like having low-cost blockers could be good in this format. With the limited amount of removal that we're seeing from the top 2 decks being the Grape Luffy and the Blue Purple Luffy. This one here, we can rest up to one of your opponent's Don cards or character cards with a cost of 1 or less. Now, resting a 1 or less might not work for us unless we're reducing the cost. But I think the important thing here is resting a Don card, which is going to hurt any Bonnie player for 1. And number 2, it's going to hurt any Purple Luffy player, because you can lay their Don flat so they can't use a giant. Now, it's a 3 cost, so you can't use the giant. It's only going to be good into this Black Purple Luffy, because using 3 Don to play this out, you do your Don -2, you get 1 back active, means it only costs 2 Don effectively to rest one of their Don and stop a giant. So you're probably as a positive if it only costs 2, but and you're establishing a blocker, but it's probably not worth it if you're running one of the other purple straw hat type leaders. Anyway, I think this is a really useful card. I'm putting it as a 2 of, as a start off and see how it plays, but I might end up upping it to 4. We'll see how it goes. Another interesting card here is the Sober Mask. So if you have a Sun Goro or Sanji character with 7,000 base power or more, give this card in your hand -5 cost, meaning you can play it out for 2. On play, return all of your Sun Goro and Sanji characters to the owner's hand. So you get, basically for the cost of 2, you get to play out a 9,000 power character. If you were to use the is it the Sun Goro, a Sober Mask? I think it's called a Sober Mask. I can't remember the name of it. It's the one that is a 6 cost and you can play out for 3 if you have 2 less on than your opponent. So if you're able to play out a 3 cost and then swap this in for the next turn for you swing with the 6,000 power Sanji, then swap it in for this one, might become effective. One of the niche plays that you can do with this would be against Blackbeard is that you can essentially have a Sanji on board and then play this one out for 2 cost and not return any of your Sanjis because your on play doesn't work. And I think, honestly, that would be the only real benefit I could see to playing this card in a deck, is if Blackbeard did become a really strong choice for the meta. Other than that, I'm kind of leaving out my Sanjis for the moment. There are 2 strong Sanjis you can use for the deck, but not using it at this stage. I think the only other new, like these ones here, are not new to us. Brook, I'm not sure if this is new to us at all, but it's just a vanilla anyway. This is the only other new one to us. It's on play, Don -2. Give up to 2 of your opponent's characters -2,000 power for the turn. Not bad, but I don't know. I don't see much use for it. There's much better cards that we could be playing instead of this. So anyway, this is a quick look at the deck that we have so far. So I do think the Black Purple Luffy is going to be really strong from this. I feel like it's strong play from ramping early and consistently with the Robin or Zoro, and then being able to go into the Luffy. If you are up against another purple deck, I think this one's going to be quicker than all of the other Straw Hats to get to the 6 cost and consistently. And if you're up against another purple deck, they will be on 5 Don when you want to play this one out. So I'm just going to bring it up one more time here. This Luffy is when your opponent has to be at 5 Don or more. So if you ramp into this and you're not against another ramp deck, they'll only be at 4 Don when you're at 6. So you wouldn't be able to get its on play effect, but you would be able to start attacking with it, which is still going to be strong into any non-purple deck. Into any purple deck, if they're ramping and you've gone first, you're able to get this one out and likely to be able to use its on play effect to bump your leader to 7,000 already, and you can still throw a Don onto that, swinging for 8 with your leader on that turn 3, which is pretty strong setup. And I think from there you can just take the game away. So I feel as though the 7k power that this leader is going to be able to get is going to outweigh the 6ks that we're currently getting. And I think with its incredible speed, it's going to have a good time into the blue purple Luffy. And I also think it's going to have enough I think speed and spread that you could set it up to go wide with Zoro Juros, Luffy Taros, to be able to go wide with this deck as well if the green purple Luffy presents as a problem. So I'm feeling like this is going to be a really strong and fun build that you'll be able to play. Now, I do also want to talk about Robin. I can't talk about Purple Straw Hats without talking about Robin, because Robin is one of my favorite leaders they have made. It is unique. It has Banish built into it, which is so much better than having a card on board with Banish. Being able to swing low numbers with this, it makes some really fun plays. Now, one of the problems with Robin is her defense, and I don't feel like this Luffy plays into the to the deck she's already trying to build. It's going to require a completely different build for her, but having that Luffy card, it might be worth building a deck around it for Robin. I'm really excited to try this one out. And as soon as these cards hit the sim, I will be experimenting with this Robin a lot. I am also likely to play this Black Purple Luffy and really test it out and build upon it. Now, I do want to talk about this Black Purple Luffy because I have already been looking at what I think I will play when it first drops on the sim, just to start the testing process, and this is what I am sort of coming up with so far. Now, I do have some other cards in here which I'm substituting for others, so if you were to screenshot this, you will not get the deck that I'm looking for. So what I am looking at playing is this card here is our 6 cost Luffy from the starter deck 26, the one that will bump our life up 2,000 on play and when attacking. This one here is our 3 cost chopper from our starter deck. And I have a Robin here somewhere. Which one did I substitute? Robin. Robin is this Zoro Juro. So these 3 here are just representing the cards for the starter deck. They're just placeholders for the moment. But as soon as they're available in the sim, I'm swapping those out for those cards, and this is what we got. So rather than going for the Zoro that's in the starter deck, that's also a 3 cost, I'm choosing Black Maria. Black Maria is still able to ramp like Robin, although you get the active Don after your turn ends, so not as good, but she has a lot of utility in with this Luffy here if you want to continue things rolling very quickly. Now, I feel like the Black Purple Luffy utilizes this card best, and it is a monster. So we have some really good top end if we need to use top end against Blue Purple Luffy. And being able to have a turn again after means they can't restand their Katakuris for that second swing. So this could be really useful into that deck, and it's already playing really well into that deck in the East. We have our Trafalgar Law Searcher to find any Straw Hats, as well as any, I don't think we're running any others. I think I did consider a kid at one stage. You could run that 7-cost kid to bump your life up even more if you wanted to build into that, which is something I will consider at some point. I threw in this Robin because I wanted to find a 2-cost that I could utilize with that remaining Don. So if we're going for that play with the Robin, the 3-cost Robin, so we play the 3-cost Robin and she basically ramps 1 and you get 1 active from your leader. You've got 4 Don, 2 are active, and so those 2 Don aren't wasted. I was thinking playing out a Robin blocker for that 2 Don just to increase the numbers on the board and build that presence. Going into your next turn with a Luffy 6 Don, and then you've got a blocker up for when you start swinging with your Luffy. So that was sort of my line of thought around having this 2-cost in there. We do have the Frankie blocker here as well, which effectively only costs 3 to play out from its effect, and you do get to draw 2 cards here. So not a bad one. We've got the Uso Hachi, can't go without that one as well. And we do have this small little black package built in here with the Suru, also doubles up as a 2k, but reducing 2 costs to drop this one here, which can KO a 6 cost. So this one allows you to hit into the this Luffy here into the, you know, any purple deck that's running it, really. Also allows you to get into the Sanji pudding if it's bumped up to a 7 cost. So yeah, it is a decent one. Like being able to hit 8 costs. 8 costs are where the damage is at. So I think even the Katakuri is at 8 cost there as well. This one here, tremendous in this deck, -2 cost. Basically, you're only using 1 Don then to KO a 6,000 power. Can't go wrong with that. Giant, nothing needs to be said. So, and yes, running 2 of these so we can utilize the power and the rush ability of this card. It's returning 2 Don is not such a bad thing for our deck as well. So this is a list that I'm going to start off with. I'm really excited to be playing this. I can't wait for it to actually drop on the sim, and then I can show you all how this one is going to run. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for any of these Black Purple Luffys? I don't know. Personally, the reason I am in this is I really want to, I don't want to just play the meta decks. I find I respect everyone who does play the meta decks and pushes them to the limit. But what I'm trying to find is, I'm trying to find enjoyment through the building and bringing a deck that's not meta into the meta. And that's what I'm really striving for here. So it's really exciting for me to see the sync of the East and the West come together, because it means that we're no longer carbon copying the decks that have been proven to be good, and we now need to start creating them. And creating the decks is what I enjoy most, testing them out and finding what is going to work. It's something I do enjoy, and I enjoy sharing it with you guys. So yeah, if you like that sort of style, please drop a like and give a sub, because that's what I'm all about here, is trying to develop some of these decks to be meta viable. And if you've got a leader in mind that you want to play, you think it could be meta viable and you want to share it, just drop that in the comments. Let me know. Always happy to hear and explore leaders that are, you know, those underdogs that really need a little bit of love. Anyway, that said, they're the, you know, this is the deck that I'm intending on running for the for, I guess, op11, unless I'm gonna keep trying out Ace and finding a way. Definitely gonna keep playing Robin and improve her, but yeah, that's sort of what my eye is on, at least for the start of the op11 meta. All right, anyway, I do hope that you enjoy this. Until next time, please do look after yourselves and look after your decks.